We'll call to order the Planning Commission meeting for Thursday, December 21st, 2023. Please stand and join us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll. Please call the roll.
I can call it. Commissioner Knopf.
Here.
Commissioner Null.
Here.
Commissioner Heickel.
Here.
Commissioner Casey.
Here.
Commissioner Schmaltz.
Here.
Commissioner Geisler.
Here.
And Chair Schwartz.
Here. First order of business this evening is to adopt our agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Geisler, second by Heikkila. Any additions or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the agenda is adopted. Next is the approval of the minutes of our November 16th, 2023 meeting.
Chair Schwartz, I'll approve the minutes from the previous meeting from November 16 with no changes.
Second.
Motion by Casey, motion by Knobloch, second by Casey. Any additions, corrections? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the minutes are approved. Our first order of old business is to reapprove planning case 23-20, a subdivision exception for Fredy Alvarado at 1010 88th Avenue Northwest. Mr. Passner.
Thank you, Chair, members of the Planning Commission. So I'll just touch on this briefly. I don't have a presentation for this. But this was an item that was approved on the October meeting for a subdivision exception for Fredy Alvarado. The approval, the lot description had a mistake in it that was caused by the surveyor. And so because of that mistake, the county did not accept the approved subdivision exception, and so it does require a reapproval with the updated lot description. The approval was based on the survey images, which were not changed and were correct. Basically, all of the information on the approval and discussion around the approval was correct, but there was a mistake in the written description, which did not come up at the Planning Commission meeting originally. So all we really need for this is a motion to reapprove resolution number 21-20 and approval of that, and then we can get that into the county and have that recorded by the county. Thank you.
Any questions, Commissioner?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Heikkila.
I move reapproval of planning case Commission 23-20 subdivision exception for Fredy Alvarado. I second that.
Motion by Heikkila, second by Knobloch. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. This is a decision by the Planning Commission and can be appealed to the City Council within 10 business days if someone so chooses. All right, next we have, under new business, planning case 23-24, a rezoning from office to general commercial at 3161 Northdale Boulevard Northwest. Horus Realty, LLC. Mr. Passner.
Thank you again, Mr. Chair, members of the Planning Commission. So I have before you a request to rezone the parcel at 3161 Northdale Boulevard from office, which is the current zoning, to GC, or general commercial, which is the requested zoning. So this is a commercial property at the corner of Northdale Boulevard and Main Street. And it is currently, it's a 2-unit parcel, and it's currently occupied half by Park Dental, and the other half is by, it's vacant currently. It was formerly by Edina Realty, and it's currently vacant. And the owner of the parcel, Horus Realty, is attempting to lease up that second half of the building and has had difficulties doing so, and came to staff with an interested party, which was the American Red Cross, which was interested in the former Edina Realty space for a blood donation center. And I believe there's about 4 or 5 blood donation centers currently in the Twin Cities Metro, so this would be either the 5th or the 6th if it were approved. And that use, a blood plasma collection facility, is not an approved use in the office zoning district. It is similar generally in use, staff finds, to a medical or dental clinic, but a medical dental clinic is an approved use, or is a permitted use in the office district, whereas a blood plasma collection facility is not. So the applicant is requesting that the parcel be rezoned from office to general commercial, where a blood or plasma collection facility is a permitted use. The parcel is guided commercial in the 2040 comprehensive plan, which is consistent with the surrounding commercial properties, which are also guided commercial. The zoning of the surrounding commercial properties is generally GC or general commercial, which is the requested rezoning, and this parcel is currently zoned office. So here's a closer look at the location at the corner of Northdale Boulevard and Main Street. And here's a Google Street View image of the single-story building showing the old Edina Realty sign and the Park Dental Riverdale sign. And the building is close up to the property line on the west side and set back from the north side to allow for some parking space. Here's a map showing the surrounding zoning districts. So you do have low-density residential on the east side, a park, I believe that's Marshland Park to the south, and then on the north and west sides, it's zoned general commercial. And the land use guiding is generally similar. So this is guided commercial, which is consistent with the rest of most of the Riverdale shopping area, at least the surrounding area of the Riverdale shopping area. And one item to note is that most parcels that are guided commercial in the city are zoned general commercial, community commercial, or neighborhood commercial, whereas most parcels that are zoned office are guided either commercial mixed use or residential mixed use. So this is one of the rare parcels in the city that's guided for commercial and zoned for office. And so staff did note that, and that is part of the consideration for what will be a recommendation of approval for this, that it is consistent with generally how parcels that are guided in this way are zoned. So there is some criteria to consider for a rezoning. So that's the Planning Commission must determine whether rezoning the parcel is not detrimental to the health, safety, order, convenience, and general welfare of the city, that its effect on present and potential surrounding land uses is not detrimental, and that it is in conformance with the city's comprehensive land use plan, the 2040 plan, and any applicable development district, which is the commercial district. So staff's responses to these questions: staff finds that because the proposed use is similar to a clinic or medical lab use, which are permitted in the office district, that the use that's proposed to go into the building would not be different than something that's already allowed to go into the building, or would not be substantially different than such a use. Also, that the parcel is buffered from almost all of the adjacent low-density residential, mostly from the park. It's buffered by the 20-foot wide trail on the east, and there are 2 residential properties that abut that trail directly across from this parcel. However, the building is already over 150 feet from the property line on that side, so it's 150 feet from the adjacent residential parcel, and there is a parking lot occupying that space in between. And any future development or redevelopment of that site, or an addition to the building, would have to be at least 50 feet from that property line, because it abuts a residential use. And then the parking does require to be 20 feet from that property line because it abuts a residential use. As far as effect on present and potential surrounding land uses, no redevelopment is currently being proposed, no exterior changes, no building addition. The American Red Cross is proposing to resurface the parking lot, but that would not change anything, any of the existing parking spaces, striping, anything like that. It would just be a resurfacing of the parking lot. But other than that, the only change would be the signage on the outside and the use on the inside in that half of the building. And then staff also finds, as I mentioned earlier, that the zoning is in character with the zoning in the surrounding area and the guided land use. And then whether it's in conformance with the city's comprehensive plan, I did kind of touch on that. And then noting that the Riverdale shopping area is generally guided to be a commercial center, and this being adjacent to the Riverdale shopping area is in keeping with that. So with that, I do have the recommended motion up, a motion to recommend approval to the city council based on the findings below. And with that, I will open it up to discussion from the Planning Commission. I do believe this is a public hearing item.
Thank you, Mr. Patzner. Commission, any questions for Mr. Patzner?
So when you described it, you said Northdale Boulevard and Main Street, and technically it's a block south. It's 124th Avenue in Northdale.
That's my mistake. Yep, you're absolutely correct about
Just
that.
to be clarified, it showed it right on the map.
Yep, you're right. I did
124th
misspeak, and I apologize for that.
Avenue. Yeah, just to clarify it.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
No, I'll just quickly comment. I drove on my way to work this morning through there at 9:15, and I counted 21 cars in the lot at that time. I'm not going to make an issue of parking or anything, but there already were 21 cars in the lot at 9:10.
So the parking lot does have, sorry,
Yeah,
if I may,
59, I saw
Mr.
that.
Commissioner. The parking lot does have 59 spaces currently. So that would be just under 30 per use, which is more than is required for that amount of square footage for these uses. So I just wanted to give that context. Thank you.
That would have all been the dental clinic, correct? At
Yeah.
that time of the morning?
Sounds like a pretty busy dental clinic.
That's what I was wondering.
Well, employees too, I suppose.
Well, but still. All right, we do need a public hearing in this matter, so at this time, I'll open a public hearing in planning case 23-24, rezoning office to general commercial at 3161 Northdale Boulevard Northwest, Horus Realty LLC. Anyone wish to speak for this public hearing? Anyone wish to speak? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and limit comments to the commission.
This seems to make sense. It's all surrounded by general commercial.
Mr. Chair?
It's the sore thumb that sticks out.
Commissioner Knoll.
Seems like it was zoned that way to begin with before Edina had the zoning change. And it's guided that way by the comprehensive plan. And it seems like a great addition to the neighborhood. And also, you can see it other than some other blood centers that are hidden within other buildings, as I think we can see across the street in the Wells Fargo building. So hopefully that drives a little more participation. But
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Geisler.
Mr. Chair, I move that in planning case 23-24, that we recommend approval of the proposed rezoning with the listed findings in our packet.
second?
Motion by Geisler, second by Knoll. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And that motion carries. This is a recommendation by the planning commission and will be introduced by the city council at their January 16th, 2024 meeting. And moving on to other business. Mr. Passner, anything for other business?
I have nothing for other business, Mr. Chair.
Is there anything on tap for this agenda for January?
Yeah, I can take a stab at that.
Mr.
For
Brown?
the regular meeting, really just one main agenda item. Things are a little bit slow these days with higher interest rates, although I think that's changing a little bit, so we're getting more inquiries. We have a comprehensive plan amendment and rezoning for the old Fire Station 3. You might remember or might be aware that the city has constructed a new fire station over by Anoka Ramsey Community College. We are preparing to sell off the old fire station for development. We've had some initial conversations with some single-family developers for that. But before we go through the process of seeking a buyer, we wanted to just get the zoning and comprehensive plan in order for that site since it's currently guided institutional. So we'll have a comp plan amendment and rezoning to change that over to low-density residential in January. And then we may have a work session after that meeting. You might remember Family Promise was looking to develop a townhome style project on Coon Rapids Boulevard in the Port Evergreen area. They are getting a little bit closer to making formal application and wanted to check in via work session. So that's a possibility. We'll have that as well. And then following tonight's meeting, we'll have a brief work session on the residential zoning code amendments we've been working on. There is some chance, at least some of those, we'll hold a public hearing in January for. We are tying up some loose ends with those, so it may be pushed later in the winter as well. But that's most of what we have on tap for upcoming meetings.
Thank you. And Commission, anyone have anything for other business?
Move to adjourn. Second.
Motion by Casey, second by Schmokey. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.